Hello everyone, welcome to Estoril in Portugal for Trofeo Pirelli qualifying. Our mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers about to take to the track for 30 minutes to try and propel themselves around this track in the fastest possible time to assert their authority on the grid for the race to come this afternoon. The Pirelli drivers, you'll recognize those. They've got a red strip across the top of the windscreen, and the Am drivers have a white strip across the top of the windscreen. Yesterday's race was pretty dramatic. If today's is going to be the same, wow, you're in for a treat. And qualifying was no less dramatic as well. Please follow us on @Ferrari Races. We would love you to do that and be part of the Ferrari family here in Estoril and everywhere else that we go to. We have, of course, Spa-Francorchamps to come after this event, and then, well, goodness me, 2023, it's gone in a flash because we'll be heading towards our Finale Mondiale. Air temperature is 21 degrees, track temperature 36 degrees. There's 20 kilometers per hour of wind around. As you can see, the flags fluttering then above one of the opulent sponsor lounges here at Estoril. So we have some 18 drivers that will be taken to the track for this qualifying, and champing at the bit to get out, you can see, is the Lueg Sportivo Herta Racing driver Otto Blank. His was the all-white car that you could see. This, however, is Max Mugelli, and this is Nico Spalek.
Good morning, late morning here from Portimao. It's 11:37 local time. And that converts to wherever you are. You will know what time it is, your place. I hope so. It's certainly time for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers to get this qualifying underway in about 2.5 minutes. And right now everybody's still stationary in the pit lane.
This driver did a really good job yesterday. Hendrik Viol, who is new into the Ferrari Challenge. A really, really impressive performance from him yesterday. I was really, really impressed because making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge, qualified reasonably, and then when it came to the race itself, to finish P6 is a very, very creditable performance. Well done, Hendrik, I'd like to say. Well, I did say it, whether I'd like to or not. I just jolly well did. That's me all over, isn't it? Also part of the on-air team, as we can see the Fleming team getting ready then from FF Corsa. Here is Ludovica, who's down in the pit lane. Hello, Ludovica.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Nico. We are back on the pit. Everything is ready for qualifying 2 of Trofeo Pirelli. After qualifying 1 yesterday, there was a difficult race full of incident and collision. But yesterday, Eliseo Donno took the pole but lost after a drive through his leading in the race, and the race 1 of Trofeo Pirelli was won by Thomas Fleming. A fun fact, in this trophy, in Trofeo Pirelli, there was a very competitive battle between 3 young drivers, Eliseo Donno, Thomas Fleming and Simon Ladniak. Yesterday, back to the podium, Max Mugelli with the 3rd position. Unfortunately, yesterday for Ricci Automobili with the drivers Mohamed Hamdi was a bad race. So there are many competitive drivers on the grid, on the pit today. So the question for this morning is who we will take the pole today. We'll discover together after this qualifying 2 of Trofeo Pirelli.
Thank you, Ludovica. You're absolutely right to identify the fact that Simon Ladniak did a good job yesterday. And I have to say, perhaps advantaged a little bit by the safety car interventions. Simon Ladniak coming very close to actually getting the win yesterday. He certainly chased Tom Fleming across the line, didn't he? And this is another new driver into the Ferrari Challenge. Delighted to welcome Ruslan Sadriv, who is being belted up in the car, as you can see at the moment, as the pit lane gets open. The Scuderia Prague driver and his 488 Challenge car, and there we can see it's pretty busy at the start as all the drivers head out now onto the track. Well, some of them anyway. There you can see the Max Mugelli car, and right behind Max Mugelli car is the Lucky Kira car. So we are about to get qualifying underway, 30 minutes then, and Tyre preservation, tyre degradation are talking topics as we look at Kim Eriksson then driving for Formula Racing. And he's a very, very distinctive, dare I say, lime green livery of Kim Eriksson is making his way out of the garage now. This is the number 92 car of Hendrik Vial. As I said, finished P6 yesterday, which I felt was a really good accomplishment, engineered by the Scuderia Prague team, led by Ivo Horn, who himself is a colourful team principal, it has to be said, and they've had some success over the years of Scuderia Prague, that's for sure, and there are two drivers heading out down the pit lane right now. We are expecting for Trofeo Pirelli that the fight for pole position will be between this young man, Alessio O'Donnell, and the young man that drives car number 73, that's Tom Fleming. And we're expecting the AM pole position perhaps to be contested by Franz Engstler and maybe Hanno Laskovsky. That's what history tells us. We should also big up, in my opinion, Nico, James Owen, who had a fantastic result yesterday. And James Owen, who making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge this year, his best position up until this point was a P4. He was on the podium P2 yesterday, and okay, he took advantage of some things falling over around him, but nonetheless, he had to be there and pedal the car, Nico.
Yes, absolutely. As we take a look at our race winner in the Pirelli AMs yesterday, Franz Engstler, and it wasn't only race win yesterday, he has collected quite a few of them already this season, with only the Le Mans race a real blemish on his racing record this year. I don't think we should forget about Marco Zanazzi, who qualified extremely well yesterday.
Yes.
Was on pole in class, if memory serves, mixing it up with the top of the Pirelli drivers yesterday, and had an unfortunate end to his race, but certainly the pace was in the car, and so he's certainly one to watch out again today. And I mean, Franz Engstler is such an experienced driver, and he's shown time and time again that his race pace is really incredible, but so is his qualifying speed, and we are watching him. The progression in this qualifying session that we expect from history is that most of the drivers will come out on yesterday's rubber, put in a banker, get used to the levels of adhesion and grip levels on the track, and then come in fairly soon after about 5 to 8 minutes, change to today's fresh set of Pirelli P0s, and then go out again and try and get that pole position in earnest. That's all theory.
Yeah, but I think you have identified it quite correctly. It's a busy weekend for the Engstler Charles Pozzi GT Racing team. They're also competing at famed circuit in Germany in the Eifel region in Nürburgring, which is why team principal Manuel Reuter and Francis' son Luca Engstler are not here this weekend. But for all of their being missing, we were told last night that they are in constant communication all the time about everything that's going on here in Estoril as well. Mohammed Hamdi had a tough old race yesterday, and Ludovica is down there with Mohammed's car right now.
Yes, Dave, because as I said before, yesterday was a hard race for Mohamed. As you can see from this image, Mohamed is preparing for this session of the second qualifying session of the Trofeo Pirelli. And yesterday I talked with his coach Francesco, which told me that Mohamed was very, very competitive yesterday in the race and was one of the most fastest drivers in the race. So Francesco and the teams and the friends of Mohamed hope that the drivers can repeat in this qualifying session to redeem himself from yesterday.
And the Francesco that Ludovica is talking about is none other than Francesco Casalacci, Nico, who ain't a bad race car peddler himself, it has to be said, and is a very, very good coach and a jolly nice chap to talk to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there we can see Alessio O'Donnell, who's not on a flying lap. Yes, you can see
far from it. He's parked it damn near, hasn't he?
Second season, 9 podiums, and he would certainly want to get into the double digits today, and you wouldn't bet against that. And he's now trying to pick up a head of steam. There is Danilo Del Favaro. Had an incident in qualifying yesterday, which brought out a red flag, which meant he had to start the race from the very back of the grid.
Yes.
And that is a starting position that he would definitely like to improve on for today. As you can see, 2 purple sectors. Maybe not surprising in these early stages of the race when meaningful times have been set, but you know, you still have to do it and you still have to avoid traffic. He didn't leave a large gap to the car that he went around. I'm not quite sure which car it was, but certainly got by unscathed and is setting a time of a 1:41.701. It's not too bad, to be honest. Lucky Kara is currently leading the times with 1:41.338. Good marker there. And back to Eliseo Dono.
Yes, here comes Eliseo Dono for Radici Automobili then. Sector 1 is purple, and we rather think that the colour scheme of the sector bars may well follow in terms of Sector 2 being purple, as well as Simon Ladniak now goes second fastest and make that first fastest, i.e. fastest at 1:41.382. Eliseo Dono then about to close out Sector 2, and sure enough, he's ahead of the game here. The cumulative time of 1:08 is ahead of that of Simon Ladniak. So if he can nail the final sector, which when Nico and I did our track walk last night, which was a day later than we had planned, we realized actually just how difficult parts of this track are to nail well. However, Eliseo Dono appears to have put the nail into the wood with the hammer, because a 1:41.382 is the target time, and he absolutely slaughters that by 1.3 seconds to a 1:40. But now Franz Engstler goes even quicker, Nico, with a 1:39.473. He's the first driver to get into the 1:39s. Yesterday's quali times, Nico, in Trofeo Pirelli, we did see into the 39s, did we not?
And further, 1:38.244 versus a 1:38.271. Those were the times by Eliseo Dono and Tom Fleming. So there is still something to be gained from those current times. Franz Engstler, to give you a reference, he was at 1:41.82, so he's already improved.
He's ahead of the game.
7:10. So if that is an indication, expect Eliseo Dono and Tom Fleming to potentially challenge for the 1:37. So watch out for the remaining 21 minutes and 50 seconds. And remember, we assume they're still on yesterday's rubber.
And remember, yes, you're right. That's a very fair point you've made, using scrub tyres. And Eliseo Dono, if on scrub tyres as we imagine, his lap now has been really rather compromised. He will have to go again. He was on a good trajectory because both his sectors were purple, but the back marking because we're qualifying, but another car that has hampered his lap, so he's eased up and he will either choose to come into the pit lane or go again, and I think go again is where we're seeing Eliseo Dono. Sure enough, we are, as he heads towards the timing line now. You can see just how much time that cost him. 2 seconds, very nearly, Nico. Franz Engstler has dived into the pit lane, so we assume that the Engstler Scuderia GT team are standing by to put fresh Pirellis onto the car of Franz Engstler. And there you can see the Hanno Laskowski car, the number 85 machine of Hanno Laskowski. Memory serves me, Berlin resident, I believe. And they're driving for the Emil Frey Sportivo team. Emil Frey, of course, have had much success in racing. Kim Eriksson driving for Formula Racing in that, as I so eloquently described earlier, lime green color scheme.
Sublime. Almost.
So you can take the English language and you can give it to somebody like Nico and he improves it still further.
Slaughters it. I think that expression that you used for earlier might be more apt. Tom Fleming didn't slaughter anything, but he put in a very reasonable banker lap, putting it P2 overall, which is P1 in class, just behind Franz Engstler. James Owen, who, as you already said, very, very good P2 overall, or P2 in class yesterday, has put it into P2 in class in quali for the moment. So once again, showing that he's got this track sorted.
And the thing is, and I know I've waxed lyrical about this in the past, and you've either joined in that conversation or chosen to completely ignore it. That is your right. I do feel that when you've had day one and you've had success in day one, that's got to put you into a good mindset for race day two, hasn't it? Because you feel confident, you feel at one with the car, and you know, it's got to be worth something. And I would suspect that James is still on a high from his podium yesterday. It's richly deserved, to be fair. And he did a very good job in terms of banking that P2 as we look at the number 8 car of Nicolo Rossi, who is at the moment 7th fastest overall, but within class he is 4th fastest, the number 8 car of Nicolo Rossi. A driver that's been with the Ferrari Challenge for a number of years, and we've seen his progression from being a good driver to becoming an outstanding driver who's regularly challenging for P1 and certainly podium positions as well, and has done that. As I think that Simon Ladniak just awaiting going back out again. And there you can see the fresh rubber being put onto the car of Lucky Kira. So the number 24 car of the two-time Ferrari Challenge UK champion, Lucky Kira. He's certainly got some very positive history in his Ferrari Challenge racing, adopting the European Series for his driving this year, although he did miss out on Spielberg. But that being said, I think he's here for the rest of the season, and Franz Exler is comfortable in the car and comfortable in his position at the moment. A 139.473 has given him P1 overall, Nico, let alone within class, because of course he is a Trofeo Pirelli AM driver.
Yes, and as we already said, he improved on yesterday's quali time already, but he knows that apparently times are quicker. The track has rubbered in even more compared to yesterday, and so that means he will certainly go out again in the remaining 17.5 minutes and try to improve on his time and start the race as high up as possible, because in Trofeo Pirelli, where you qualify overall is where you start. So you don't bunch up all the Pirelli drivers at the front, but we will have a mix potentially between the Pirelli and the Pirelli M drivers. So Franz Engster as an M driver could feasibly take pole position overall, and that's where he would start. Max Mugelli, other plans, he's currently P4 in class, only P9. He certainly has ways to go, and he's trying to move himself up the order.
And it would look like this particular lap is perhaps going to give him that opportunity. I was talking to one of our Copa Shell drivers a short while ago, because Copa Shell drivers are out there qualifying, and Nico, the wind has increased significantly today rather than yesterday, and I said, is that making any difference at all out there on track? And Henrik Hamstrup said, do you know what, Dave? Actually, no, not really. Not really. He felt the track was performing better today than yesterday, and the times would bear that story out, wouldn't they? Because as you say, the times are coming down. We've still got 16 minutes of this session remaining, so still plenty of time for that 139.473 to come down.
Yes, absolutely. Right now we've hit a little bit of a snag in this qualifying session, that the majority of the cars are currently in pit lane, as you can see from these shots. We take a look at the 69 car, that is that of Marco Zanazzi. However, it's just the calm before the storm, and the storm will come raging here on the turns and tarmac of Estoril in the second half of this qualifying session. It will be frantic, it will be fierce, and it will be with Mohamed Hamdi trying to improve on his current P2 position in class, and he's not doing a shabby job of that. He is using the fact that there is very little traffic for the moment. That will change in but a few minutes.
And using what I would have suggested is a different car to yesterday. Because of course he was up against the barriers, wasn't he, unfortunately, and Mohamed Hamdi then, if you're looking at that, I'm thinking it's not the normal red that Mohamed Hamdi races in. I don't think every panel has been replaced. I think that is probably a spare car. So Mohamed Hamdi stays second in class, P4 overall, which is no mean feat. Well done, Mohamed. Franz Engster's time of 139.473 hasn't been beaten by anyone yet. However, there is still time, and time for this young man potentially to go out there and give us a time that is more reflective of what we're expecting given the times that we had yesterday. This is the Tom Fleming car. Bit of work going on there potentially. Ed Barton-Hilton, who's the team principal, is there. Look with the blower, keeping Tom cool. He was very emotional when he took the victory yesterday, and emotions were to be expected because there was some drama around that victory, to be fair. But I was saying to Ed just a few moments ago, actually, that where I was really impressed with Tom yesterday was when he found himself in the gravel, Nico. You or I, dare I say it, would have ended up not rallycrossing through the gravel in the style of, let's say, Peter Solberg. It would have been much more in the style of someone losing control of their bicycle and would have ended up in the barriers. I was really, really impressed with Tom. He kept his cool, he kept his foot in, and he got back out on track. And yeah, he probably lost 3 or 4 seconds, but actually it would have been very easy in that point to lose the car and for the race to be over.
Yeah, absolutely. And also after the restart, he had to be very careful and drove very much with his head, being sandwiched between Eliseo O'Donnell and Simon Ladniak, who tried to get by.
Yes.
Eliseo O'Donnell had already been given a penalty, but he was still ahead of him on the track. And so he was in a very difficult position, and he managed that very well. So he got the win eventually. And, yeah, I mean, emotions are part of this race, are part of motorsport.
They're part of motorsport, Nico, aren't they? I mean, you and I have cried and cried a tear on many occasions when we've seen drivers have victories that we feel are richly deserved, and we've cried with disappointment sometimes. There is an expression that motor racing can be oh so beautiful, but it can also be utterly brutal as well. Hanno Laskowski is a brute. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because he's just put the car P2, Nico. So we've got this curious situation with just 12 minutes of the session remaining, where we've got 2 Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers as being the fastest drivers overall. It's fantastic. Hanno Laskowski.
Brute.
All right, I apologise.
Anyway, Nicola Rossi, 4th season, 8 podiums, and the funny thing is, he didn't have a single podium until we got to Hungary last year, and
all of a sudden it worked, didn't it?
You know, there were flashes, and you could see the improvement, but then in Hungary he got not only the podium, he got the win, and since then it's almost, with some exceptions where things, you know, incidents and accidents, mostly not by his making. Other than that, he's generally been on the podium consistently, and I think that just underscores how much he has improved.
And does it not also reinforce what I was saying earlier, that you know, if you're having success, success tends to give you the self-confidence to go out there and really, really push hard, and it brings further success. It doesn't always work that way, of course it doesn't, but it must. You know, it must have a difference. It must make an impact.
Oh, absolutely, and it also, I think, underscores the fact that the coaching that the drivers get helps them to improve their racecraft. None of those are doing this as their main profession, certainly not at this stage of their careers, even in Trofeo Pirelli. I mean, we know Niklas Nielsen, who has now gone on to be a Competizione GT driver, including Le Mans and in the hypercar. I mean, where else can you go, really, in GT and racing?
Ain't going to get better than that, is it?
No, especially not this year. I mean, Nicola Rossi doesn't do this as a profession, but he still is so ambitious, and he wants to improve his racecraft, and you can see how that is happening.
And we do see, you know, this whole Ferrari Challenge series as Simon Ladniak, you can see the P1 there. Now, that's P1 in class. He's still P2 overall. I mean, there is but 8 100ths between himself and the time of Franz Engstler. We've seen time and time again, Nico, drivers that come into the Ferrari Challenge and their careers are, I'm tempted to say, pole vaulted as a result of success in the Ferrari Challenge. And we could name so many of them, couldn't we? The likes of Niklas Nielsen, you've so rightly identified, Chris Froggatt, Fabien Volvend, Michel Gatting, Dorian Penn, so many drivers that have gone on to other motorsport echelons and have done so as a result of what they've achieved in Ferrari Challenge. That must be reinforced. Simon Ladniak is reinforcing his pace here. And Sector 1 and Sector 2 are both better than anybody else. Is he going to take away that provisional pole time from Franz Engstler? We are about to find out, because he's going to break the timing beam now. And Simon Ladniak does that, Nico. He takes 4 100ths, but Hanno Laskowski, who's just behind him, has gone even faster with a 1:39.378. So maintaining that Trofeo Pirelli Am position right at the top of the charts currently. So it's Laskowski from Ladniak, then it's Franz Engstler. And the two drivers that we expected, if I'm honest with you, to see right at the sharp end there, Tom Fleming and Alessio Dono, they've got 9 minutes to do it, and we're riding on board right now with Tom Fleming, who is the first of those to go out there and try and trouble those that are at the top end. And it gets very busy out there on the track. I know that you know, there are 18 cars, and the track is 4.1 kilometers long, but it's irritating probably for the drivers that across the 4.1 kilometers of tarmac, that when they're out on a hot lap, they're almost bound to find someone that is potentially going to cause them to lose concentration just for a moment and perhaps not put in the lap that they would really like. But here is Tom Fleming that we're staying on board with right now. His cumulative sector target is a 107.990. As we close out sector 2, it's a 107.164. So it's a big margin from Tom Fleming thus far. The intermediate time is looking pretty strong here from Tom Fleming. Let's split the screen so that you can see him hard at work inside the car, and how all those inputs inside the car are relating to how it looks to us and this main feed that we have here. As Tom Fleming now drags it along the start-finish straight with a 1:39.425 as the target. It's a 1:37.890, Nico. 1.5 seconds quicker than anybody else.
Yeah,
what a lap.
Absolutely, and that just reinforces what we felt might be possible today. I mean, it's half a second quicker than yesterday's pole time, and Tom Fleming delivered. Eliseo Dono is on a quick lap. He's not as quick, but oh, that first sector is only 4 1/1000ths of the pace from Tom Fleming on the previous lap around, and Tom Fleming also is improving by a few thousandths on the first sector. Very good driving from Nicola Rossi. You couldn't quite see him, but he went out on the way through that turn, and well done there. This is looking good. This is looking like it's shaping up for the last 7 minutes of this quali session. Eliseo Dono is heading for the line. He is heading to the final bend. 6 minutes 56 seconds. Maybe this lap will produce a new pole lap, or will it just set him up for a new attempt? Where is the clock?
Oh!
And it has done it!
By 9 100ths.
9 100ths. Tom Fleming is responding through 2 sectors, 2.5 tenths quicker than the previous time just set by Eliseo Dono. No indication that track limits have been violated or tampered with. Tom Fleming through those final few turns, it's so critical. They look rather insuspicious on the track, but you have to really manage the throttle. You can't be on the throttle too early or you will slip. 1:37.795.
Oh, it's a 1:37.653. He's taken a 1/10.5 out of the Eliseo Dono time. Wow, this is shaping up to be something very special indeed. Well done to Tom Fleming, who's currently P1. I say currently because with just under 6 minutes remaining, it may not necessarily stay this way, Nico.
No, absolutely. I mean, those two are really trading top times. Meanwhile, Hanno Laskowski is leading in the amps. Franz Engstler P2. Those two drivers actually in the pit lane, as is Marco Zanazzi, who is currently still going. Max Mugelli, third in Pirelli. He is going. He's having another go. 5.5 minutes. There is Stefano Guy telling everybody what a good lap that was.
Francesco Casalacci is alongside him as well. And okay, so in comes the number 77 car of Ruslan Sadriv. Ruslan is, where are we at the moment? P16 overall. Max Mugelli's done a personal best through sector 1. And Max Mugelli then having a go here. Now it is Tom Fleming, Eliseo Dono, Max Mugelli, the top 3 at the moment. Hanno Laskowski is the best of the AM drivers ahead of Franz Engstler and Marco Zanazzi. We have under 5 minutes of qualifying to come from Estoril. This is the Ferrari Challenge, and this is Trofeo Pirelli. And it's shaping up to be an awesome race. Anna Laskowski, I can see, is actually out of the car now, so he feels that he's done as much as he can do. He's parked the car up, and he has delivered a time which is, at the moment, P1 in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Max Mugelli seems to have bailed this lap, Nico. You can see he's really slowed down. He will probably come into the pit lane, and there we can see, is that the car of Tom Fleming into the pit lane? Tom Fleming feels that he's given as much as he can. He was one of the drivers that said to us, Nico, that you know, there's one real window of opportunity with the tyres to get it absolutely right. He decides that he has taken that and has put the car at the moment P1 with a 137.653. He therefore feels there's no more that he can give.
Yeah, certainly nothing that wouldn't compromise his tyre performance for the race later on. And he was full of confidence yesterday in his race pace. And this quali, hello, Hanno. His race pace certainly was there yesterday, so he will feel confident being P1 or P2, and right now he is in P1.
Simon Ladniak feels that he's taken as much as he can. So too is Franz Engsler. We can see him in the picture as well. So all of a sudden, some of the, dare I say it, those that we expect to be right at the front have parked their cars.
The one driver who we can see is improving currently, and he's currently in the second sector, is Lucky Kara. Eliseo O'Donnell, we also see he is still going. Let's see what he can do. First sector, oh,
Here
yes,
we go.
sir.
Bring it on, bring it on. So 3/100ths quicker through sector 1 for Eliseo O'Donnell. So the Radici Automobili driver then is still with 2 3/4 minutes remaining, is still getting around the track at a pace that is pretty impressive, and such a fight going on between P1 and P2 in Trofeo Pirelli, and Eliseo O'Donnell then gentle on the throttle now, burning the power on, almost losing the back end of the car, running very wide, holds on to it, and now continues his quest up the road. And now, there are various parts of the track where track limits seem to be being violated, but actually a blind eye is turned, and he has bailed it, hasn't he, Nico? But sector 2 has not gone right for him. So what he'll do, presumably, is set himself up for another one, or is he going to park the car, do you think?
I would think that he will park the car. Not that I'm a race engineer or know anything about motorsport in comparison to those who are in charge of the team and himself, obviously, but I rather think with tire degradation being a factor, once he saw the split time after the second sector, and
you're right, look.
For once I am proven correct, Eliseo O'Donnell dives into pit lane. I think he doesn't see the benefit of going again. P2 it will be for him by all accounts, as we have still a few improvements. Danilo Del Favaro is still moving up the order, but in terms of P1 and P2, I think it's safe to assume that Tom Fleming and Eliseo O'Donnell will switch places for the race later on.
I think you might be right. In fact, what have we got? 1 minute and a quarter left. No one is setting purple sectors now. I feel that Radici Automobili have decided that Eliseo can give and no more. Tom Fleming is congratulated by Ed Barton Hilton. I don't think it's premature. I don't think anyone is going to trouble his time. So a 137.653 will mean, Nico, that he will get the Rotiform pole position award when the session is over in 45 seconds time. And there you can see Eliseo taking the crash helmet off. There's Tom Fleming then inside the garage, taking a look at the data and being congratulated. And there's Eliseo. Both those drivers, very young talents indeed. And it should be remembered that, I think you pointed out, it's the second year in Ferrari Challenge for Eliseo O'Donnell. It's the first year for Tom Fleming. In fact, it's his first full campaign in any racing category. He did do some racing over the winter to get his license, but, you know, here it, look at that hair, for goodness sake. I'm going to have a word with with Alex about that. You know, both of these drivers are oozing talent from their pores.
What pause? How long is the pause? Sorry. No, obviously. And I mean, that is just to show how inexperienced but still talented and so proficient those two drivers already are in their early stages of their careers. There is our pole setter.
He's done it. Tom Fleming for HRO in FF Corsa has put it to the top of the charts in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. He goes from pole position for the race this afternoon. It's been a very good quali for Hanno Laskowski as well for the Emil Frey Sportivo team. He goes P1 for Trofeo Pirelli Am. And there is Tom Fleming with his Rotiform pole position award. So he's had a race win trophy, and now he's got a pole position trophy as well. And the hair is really performing in its own way in the wind that's here in Estoril. Carlo from Radici Automobili having conversations there with Alessio Dono. They're just dissecting everything that happened in that qualifying session, and there was a little bit of perhaps disappointment that you could see on the face of Alessio Dono, but there we have it. The race is an altogether different thing, and that's coming up in well, this afternoon. Make sure you join us for that. The qualifying is done and dusted. Share your passion. Ferrari races, that we urge you to do. Be part of the Ferrari family. And well, qualifying was dramatic, as we expected it to be, and Tom Fleming is the man that is on the top step of the qualifying charts, and right now, I think Tom Fleming is with Ludovica.
Tom Fleming, today you are the poleman. How do you feel to be here and to conquer to this result?
It feels great, you know, it's nice to finally be back on top, and the hard work is obviously paying off that we're doing here. And also the seat time, you can tell I'm feeling a lot more comfortable in the car. Obviously, still my first season of car racing ever. So, yeah, no, it's a really good start to Sunday's race, and I've got to thank the boys for executing our quali plan perfectly. Found ourselves in a good bit of track position, and yeah, couldn't be happier. Well, good. It's also my first pole as well. I've been waiting ages for it, but yeah, extremely happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Tom Fleming. He articulates pretty well as well, Nico, you know. Let's keep an eye on that name, you know. And I'm going to get such a telling off about my comments about his hair, but there we are. Tom Fleming, Alessio Dono, Max Micheli, the top three Trofeo Pirelli for AM drivers, Laskowski, Engsler, and Zanazzi. Join us for the race. From Nico and myself, thank you for watching. Goodbye.